Alright, hey everyone. Um, you know what? I didn't really know what to do for the end of the year. Even now, I'm not as good. I'm just somewhat better than I was. But it's gonna hopefully be enough. Have some fluids ready, aka water, that helps just in case there's an issue with the throat. But yes. With all this said, I decided to come up with an idea of doing a tier list, but of the more recent thing that just happened around the end of this month, and it really had me thinking here. So here it is. I'm going to do a tier list on all of this year's death battles. Well, this season's death. Well, the death battles of this season. So from Bardock all the way to Yugi and Bardock versus Omni Man to Yugi versus Ash. So yeah, honestly, this is gonna get a bit interesting. So that's what we're gonna do here. Wait, I forgot to do one last thing. Okay, there we go. Ta-da! There it is. Tier list. So we got S to F tier. Decided to color code it, saying that S is like the best tier, and F is the worst. So starting off, we're gonna talk about Bardock and Omni Man. Uh, D tier. Like there is no other place I would actually put this fight. And I am going in order by the list of death battles. So yeah, and if I'm following this list correctly, it was definitely Bardock and Omni Man being the first battle of the bunch for season 11. So, yeah, in all honesty, this is a death battle that I would call more hypothetical on one person's side. Because essentially, we're literally trying to guess Bardock's level of strength when it comes to a time period that was before the Saiyans got, well, eviscerated, to say the least. But yeah, I think you can understand my point on when I come to saying this. We don't actually know Bardock's level of power. Supposedly, and I'm only just hearing this from other sources, so I can't say for sure. But from what people put, Bardock was around the same level of strength as King Vegeta. Maybe a bit more, but it's hard to really say on that matter. I'll also add to the fact we weren't using Heroes' version of Bardock, aka the one that involves like uh the time tree, time patrollers, and all that. Yeah, we weren't using that Bardock. Apparently for that Death Bell, we were using the hypothetical level strength and power of Bardock before Planet Vegeta got blown up. And honestly, when it comes to this, I have to say that I can't really approve of this one because this battle just seems a little too hypothetical. Because, let's put it this way. Supposedly, if I remember correctly, around the average Saiyan level of power, it's like, and I'm not talking about the warriors, I'm talking more like the civilian like life of Saiyans. The power level is like between 2,000 to 3,000, I think. And putting that into perspective, that's like way below anything Nappa and Vegeta could produce when they were in the Saiyan saga. So obviously, we shouldn't really be expecting Bardock to be like, I don't know, end of Z, beginning of Boo saga strong. Heck, even around the near end of um um the Cell saga. Heck, even the Namek saga is apparently a bit too much if we went to the end of the Namek saga. Because remember, Bardock got defeated by first form Frieza. Like, he couldn't keep up. But depending on which variation you're using, he got injured, and yeah. But still, to put it in perspective, first form Frieza was stronger than intended. So we can't say Bardock is stronger than first form Frieza because then we're going to have to put in consideration due to Piccolo's power level when it came to Frieza when he fought Frieza's second form, or uh, Gohan and Krillin's power. Because I don't know, it's hard to really say on that because he did get um, I think he was defeated if I remember the Bardock movie correctly. He defeated he was defeated by the Doria, and Vegeta managed to easily kill him when he first went to Namek. So, in all honesty, there I can't really put him at a high spot when it comes to power levels. But then we got Omni Man, and we got uh oh my gosh, we got his thing. And I haven't seen Invincible, so I can't say for sure about that. So yeah. In truth, this is about where I'm gonna have to say it just seems a little too hypothetical. And considering that technically now we can say for sure that the Bardock movie, well, the Bardock movie where he became a Super Saiyan is non-canon and all that. So yeah, let's be honest here. This one is just too hypothetical, and it is trying to give stuff to Bardock. But at this point, let's be realistic. If that stuff isn't canon, well, actually, it could be because technically, Dragon Ball is a never-ending universe. Because I remember years ago that Toriyama once said that the infinite universe thing is technically canon. So meaning Heroes is canon. All the movies are canon. They just belong in different timelines and all that. So yeah, but either way, I can't really support this one because it just seems too hypothetical when it comes to Bardock's level of strength, while in Omni-Man's we have a more solid thing. So it could go either way in technicality, but it just seems too hypothetical. If we have like clear evidence, and if we even use uh the Bardock evidence we have in Super, let's just say that uh to put it into a more simple thing, remember that back then Bardock was a very tenacious and clever fighter and all that, but his level of strength was vastly different from the opponent he fought there to the one we meet in Super. So, yeah, there's that. So, more or less technicalities when it comes to that bit of detail. But anyway, in the end, it leads to the hypothetical thing, and I'm not a big fan of that. Now, the next fight would be Joker versus Giorno. And this one's actually a bit more interesting. Um, truthfully, I put it like B tier. Also, I think I have to be clarifying. I have to go by the evidence they used about the battle itself and the music as well. Is what the stuff I'm looking for. Well, the music was alright for Bardock and Omni, and the fight was pretty good. I didn't like the analysts. Okay. And for Joker and Giorgiano, I have to say B tier. And it's not really because I'm like biased on who won and who lost. To be honest, I haven't really watched a lot of JoJo, and I haven't really seen anything related to Persona. So yeah, in all honesty, I can't really say anything about that. And I do understand the analysts about Joker's win, but I'm a bit iffy on putting this in B because I put this fight in like A or B tier. In truth, but yeah. Let's get back onto the main thing though. Um, this fight is strange, to put it simply, and actually really unique because we got Joker with his arsenal and what he has in his possession against Giorgiano with his stand. And I'm sorry for all those fans that actually are gonna probably be shouting out in the comment section below saying that I'm saying the name wrong, like an idiot. Well, in truth, I have to say that this fight is a bit. Well, basically, it's more of less of who could counter who. Because when we get to the stats of it all, uh, we got literally Joker having a large advantage. It's just that his main issue was going against Golden Experience. And if he can counter everything Golden Experience can do. And the issue with that is it sounds very convoluted on how that works. And I can understand the reasoning. And I have heard that people have said that uh, the so called counter in game, where the evidence was against Giorgiano, is like non canon. I think we should actually look at it in a different case. Not that the game is canon, but more of the theory of how Golden Experience can be countered is canon. That is to say, that is the case here. The game's not canon, the fight never happened, and all this and all that. It's just that the explanation and reasoning on a possibility to counter it is there, and if the method was used correctly and in a more powerful state, then it could be argued to say that it could work, but it can't be used on a small level, but it has to be overpowering Golden Experience by a large margin. More or less similar to how if we use Dragon Ball's method of how Goku destroyed the Patara earrings. Basically, it has to be an overwhelming power of the method to defeat Golden Experience, which supposedly Joker could do. The problem is, well, the Bond uh, method. I don't know what it's called in Persona, but the whole Bond thing involving Joker makes it a bit more confusing because I don't know how that would technically work against Golden Experience since uh I don't know how it actually works. So I can't really say that Golden Experience can't can't make that bond thing go to nothing or anything like that because I don't know how that works and I don't know if Golden Experience can affect something like that. Maybe if it affects Joker himself, sure. Like it's Joker powering the thing, but if it's from other people, then it's technically probably wouldn't work. Because if it was just solely Joker, then yeah, okay. But if it's from other people from faraway places and it's an always infinite passive thing, then yeah, sure, Golden Experience probably can't work with that. But then again, I don't know much about Giorgio, um, JoJo and Persona, so that makes it a bit of a mute point in the end. And that whole thing honestly convinced me to put in B tier. Now that I think about it, the music and battle were amazing. It's just that one bit of detail that just really riled me up. Everything else did seem to make sense. It's just that one piece of information which prevented it from going to like A or S tier. So, in a realistic thing, I put this battle in B, but if I personally wanted to do it, I'm trying to be a bit unbiased because even though I don't know much about Persona, I do know a bit about uh, Joker because he was in Smash, he was in Sonic World Racing, Cross World, and all that. And honestly, I think he has a really cool outfit and all that. So I'm a bit there, but yeah, honestly, though, yeah, I'm gonna put them in B. Next would be Bowser and Eggman, and I have to say, this is a fight that deserves S tier. Because, ooh, Nelly. Okay. Okay, there we go. Sorry, throat got a little tight there. Anyway, yeah, to put it simply, the Bowser and Eggman fight is S tier. The fight was great. They put in every possibility, put every scenario, gave a great explanation on all that, and it came out together as a perfect death battle. The music was great, battle was great. They put in, as I said, every scenario and all that. It because this battle actually shows how much care and how much deep dive they did on both these characters, and it is a perfect battle, and it deserves the S tier and to be the first one to be on the S tier on this list. Nothing to really complain about, really. Okay, on to the next battle. We got Among Us versus Fall Guys. Um, C, like actually C tier. Like in all honesty, to put it simple or anything like that, it's just that this battle just honestly it feels more like a wacky what if situation of what if these two were to fight and all that and so on. It just feels so weird and bizarre. The explanations and the tools and equipment that they have, everything else is just bizarre. It's just so weirdly put that it just doesn't feel like a real death battle. It just feels like Ha ha ha! I'm gonna make this into a funny joke video, like a video that's like a complete joke, like what they did for like Deadpool versus Pinky and like Scooby versus Courage and all that. Like a battle with that has no technical winner and all that. It's just a complete joke of a fight. The only thing I can say for sure that makes it better than D or F is because at least the information is accurate and it follows lore stuff. I don't know. Because at this point, it feels like Toon Force, and when I think of Toon Force, it just weirdly makes sense. But I have to say that it's like, besides that, music just seems like a mix of both games, and the only thing that makes it better is that there's actually a clear winner here. So, other than that, not really something else to really say. For the next battle, it's Kratos versus Ashura, God of War versus Ashura's Wrath, and I have to say this was an amazing battle. Though I have to say it wasn't more amazing than the S tier, which was Dr. Eggman versus Bowser. It didn't give the right feelings to make it an S tier, but it deserves all the credit and for all the information used and other possible scenarios. And I did like the alternate ending of a what if scenario. Felt nice to see that. But other than that, it didn't really give off vibes or anything that really said, oh, this is like S tier, but more of an A tier battle. Because it just seems to really fit that category. I don't know why, because when I tried to compare the two, and when I've been thinking about it, because I made sure to really think about the positions of where I'm gonna put these death battles, and when it came down to it, I don't know, I couldn't say really more of what to really think about the battle. Because when I tried to compare some battles to others, I just tried to think, could this be S tier? And when I think of all the S tier battles, I keep thinking it's close, but it's not there. And I don't know why. It might be because some of the S tier stuff just were just put in such a way that and show a lot of I don't know something that just made it S tier. But yeah, there's nothing really to complain about with the assuring and the Kratos fight. It's just it didn't feel S tier to me. Maybe it was the music because it just felt like a true mix of battle between the two. But I felt like if the so I can't say it's bad. I just don't know what exactly. And it's not because I know about Eggman and Bowser more than the other two, because I've seen some stuff involving Ashura's Wrath, and I've seen and played enough God of War, so I can't say that that's the reason. So yeah, that it's just A tier. Next fight is Ghost Rider versus Spawn. Hmm. A In truth, I can't really hate this battle, but it just feels weird in a way. It's a great battle. everything that can count, prove the points, and the methods provided. The music was banger too, and the fight was great too. But in the end, I have to say that this fight, just like the previous one, just it felt like it could be higher. It's just that when thinking about the S tier rank and comparing the battles side by side, I have to say that the S tier ones just triumph over the A tier ones over for some reason. Next one is Shigaragi versus Mahito, and I have to say that they follow the same trend. Big fan of My Hero and all that. And for Jujutsu Kaisen, I have seen a bit of it, but either way, I still can't say S tier for some reason. Me, but for this one, I think I can narrow it down, and I have to say it might be the All for One thing because technically it's supposed to be a one-on-one fight, and well, All for One and Shigaraki do share the same body. I don't know. It just feels weird that he didn't even interact in the fight besides the one point. And again about that, it just I don't know. It just feels weird and off. So yeah, gonna have to say no there. And next is the Master Chief and Doom guy. Honestly, I've been debating on this one. I've been thinking about this very carefully, and I have to say, it's almost S tier, but it surpassed the others. When I think of this fight, it shows clear stuff. It shows how overwhelmed Master Chief would be against Doom Guy, the equipment and all that, but it did show that while Doom Guy had the better equipment and the better feats and all that, he didn't have the better AI. And I have to say, I really do appreciate that kind of thing. But yeah, honestly though, now that I'm thinking about it, because this was the biggest debate. I either make it S tier or A tier, and I can't really truly decide on that. My my gut says A, but my heart says S. But when I have to rationally depict wait this whole thing, I have to come with the thought that I feel that Master Chief had less of an advantage, and this was less of an even fight when it comes between the two. But when it comes to stats, that is. But yeah, I'd say top of A. It easily goes beyond the Ashura and Kratos fight. That's just my personal feelings on the matter. But on to the next one. It's going to be. Ooh, this is going to be interesting. Simon the Digger versus Kyle Rayner. And I honestly have to say, this is a this is a battle that's really amazing because it honestly shows and gets to the point of okay, these two are beyond broken. They're beyond anything we expect and all that. But in the end of it all, it comes down to who does it better. And I think this fight really gets that. And when seeing this bout, it got my heart racing. And I don't know much about Kyle Rayner because I don't see much of the comics involving him. And I didn't really finish Gurren Lagann. So I can say that um I know everything about them or know a lot about them. I do know the ending though, sadly. I just saw it and I just couldn't take my eyes away from it. So yeah. But honestly, this fight really got me racing. It got my heart racing. It got me uh like it got me tense, it got me racing, it got me going in awe and going thinking about really carefully who I want to see win or who I think is gonna win. And that is the amazing thing about this fight. But yeah. Other than that, we got Wile E. Coyote versus Tom the Cat, and honestly, C tier. Like I get if some people say it's higher, but I'm not a big fan to these kind of fights that involve like gaggy, cartoony stuff. Especially when we're trying to compare, oh, Toon Force, going like, oh, this person has better Toon Force than this character, and all this and all that. Honestly, I would put something like this in like D or F tier, but the fact that there's actually a clear winner and there's actually some stuff in the battle that actually made it a bit more interesting than it should, in my personal opinion, it just deserves C tier because of that. The details and focus of the battle honestly helped it in the end. That is the only reason why it's in C tier. But yeah, other than that, that's really it. Next is Spider-Man versus Deku, Marvel versus My Hero, and I have to say, meh. Like the music was great, the analyst was amazing and spectacular, but when I think of this bout, it's more like it's all right. Like I like the battle, I like how they did it, I like the information gathering they had and all that. But when think about it compared to others, it just felt meh. Like it's better than C tier, and at its moments, it is as good as it's an A tier. But yeah, I would say top of B if I had to be more hyper analytic about it. But it is close to A, but it just felt like a so battle. Like a battle between Spider Man and even Miles Morales and Izuku Midoriya. I thought I would be more excited for it, but when going to it, I'm going like, huh, okay. It to the point that it felt like an A, but at the end of it all, it felt more like a B after seeing the battle. And I have seen the video on every so often, and it just felt like a B tier. And I have been clarifying, I have seen these videos again, and to be honest, I go towards more of the S tier battles than the others, more times than not. But if I had to pick the A tiers, yeah, I pick them more than the other tiers too. But that's really it. And then we have the Hulk versus Godzilla, and um, sorry, Marvel fans and Godzilla fans slash MonsterVerse fans. I gotta put this in B tier. The fight was amazing. It showed the analytics of Bruce Banner and the physical strength of the Hulk, them working together just to defeat Godzilla. Like half the stuff from Godzilla I didn't even know, which is really cool. But yeah, it just felt more like a I don't know, didn't seem like an epic battle you would that get your heart racing, something you're anticipating, something you as a fan want to see be clarified by people with unbiased opinion. Even if they care about one character, they're gonna have to admit, okay, yeah, I like this one character, but this character they're going up against is has way better stats and all that than the other guy. This felt more like I'm just waiting to see. I'm just waiting for the the conclusion that everyone's been knows gonna happen. Because basically, it felt more like a comic book fight than anything else. To be more specific, it feels like something you would see from a comic book. Just big issue happening, them just going there and coming up with a solution to stop the problem, and just bam, win. It felt like that. And in truth, I'm not really a big fan of that when it comes to a death battle. So I hope you can understand why I'm saying like that. The fight was great and amazing. I'm gonna say that, but it just felt more like something I don't know. You would see more related to a comic book or like a show or like a special or something, where it just basically goes, we have we have a very strong opponent. We need a way to defeat them. So we're gonna test some theories on how to defeat them one after a time. It didn't feel like that standoff one-on-one battle. It didn't feel like, okay, let's get right into it. And it might be due to the fact that despite having the stuff they have at a base standpoint, we're talking about the Hulk and Bruce Banner actually working together to a degree to take care of Godzilla, who doesn't have such intelligence to go against Bruce Banner to counter him, or have like someone on their side to defeat or counteract the 2-on-2 mental length and all that. It just feels off like that, okay? Next is Ruby versus Maka. Alberin, Ruby versus Soul Eater. And I have to say, it is better than a lot of stuff. But, hey, yeah. Yeah, that seems better, actually. Now, for Ruby and Maka, the fight was amazing, but it didn't really feel like an anniversary special kind of fight. And for those that have been waiting to see Ruby Rose actually be in a battle and death battle, I get it, but I just feel like Mako was like the worst opponent to face. Because when we compare Maka's feats and all that, it just seems off. Like, when I thought of this bout, the only thing I could think of was Okay. How much could a semblance slash aura can produce? Like when I actually went back to think to the previous three other Ruby fights, and when I mean Ruby, I mean RWBY, the show itself, where I watch the other members of Team Ruby fight, and it made me question one thing, and that was how does a aura like how does aura energy like work? Like is it like chakra where if you train hard enough you can extend the length of it? Or is it like a number system? Like you can use it from 1 to 100. And depending on training, you can lower the amount of aura you can use until it's like percentage of what's necessary for in a fight. Or is it like some people were born with a larger amount, some were born with a lesser amount, but depending on the person and the training they do, they can use that number little by to such a little amount that one with a smaller amount of aura can actually beat one with a bigger amount of aura. That is literally the question that I'm wondering when it came to this fight, and it is the biggest headache that I had. But besides that, I don't watch Soul Eater, so the only thing I had an issue with, and it came up when it came to Black Blood, because I do remember a death battle like that when it came to Venom and some other character from Soul Eater, and that made me recall that, and it made me wonder, with all this stuff added and all this information I gathered, could Ruby Silver Eyes actually do something against this Black Blood? And yeah, that is literally the only thing that really came to mind. But it also made me wonder if Ruby's eyes would even work in general against someone from Soul Eater. That is until I saw the information about Black Maka having black blood and thought, oh, okay, so that would be the only case scenario here. That is until I saw the endurance feats and thought, oh, never mind. Though I have to admit, it probably would only work if Ruby can get one good hit. But then they were comparing aura from other characters. I'm going like, all right, that's cool, but technically that's due to their semblances and all that. So, like, one character actually used their semblance to actually stop something involving a bomb. I can't remember word from the battle, but I do know that it just didn't feel right. And overall, it just seemed more like Ruby was fighting an opponent that was just too overwhelming in all seriousness. So honestly, I gotta say this battle was weird. Next is Blade versus Buffy, which is Marvel versus Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Now I know about Blade. I don't know anything about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Overall, even though it was live action, I did really enjoy the fight. And I have a hard struggle when it comes to this one. But for the hard work they did for the live action, I have to give them the A tier because it is a ballsy move to do. So that's gonna be really it. Like the details they give. and it made me really interested in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I just need to find enough free time to check that kind of thing out. But yeah, now these two fights that are left. Hmm. I honestly put them both in S tier. Okay, fine. I'll give an explanation. Though it is probably necessary. For Dante and Clive, it just seems like they have like similar stuff that goes on. Uh, like they have the similar enough skill set, power, and all that. It's just a battle that goes down to endurance. Like who can endure the punishment longer than the other? And I did like how that was went out and all that. So honestly, it feels like an S rank, uh, an S tier for me. I'm sorry, I said S rank. I've been replaying some Devil May Cry, and honestly, that made me thought of like S tier stuff. So yeah, honestly, this fight honestly was similar to more of everything else, but in truth, it actually now that I think about it, I probably should put this in a better order. There we go. That would be the order of S tier. This would be B tier. Who am I? Let me think about this one. Actually, while I think about this one, let me tell you why Ash and Yuki go in S tier. Honestly, it's similar to Eggman and Bowser, but they're at 7. This is put at 11. Or Bowser and Eggman were a 9, and Ash and Yuki were like an 11. Everything else in between was like a 10. But yeah, that's basically the reason why I okay, for a season final, Ash and Yugi were like the best choices. And if I remember correctly, they did came out around the same time. At least I think. I would actually have to go ahead and look into that. But in the end result, it is a really great battle to see. Because it actually had me really puzzled, in all honesty. Because my one issue with this death battle was I did not know how they were going to do it. Like, it's one thing to go into details and analyze every single bit about what the characters did, their strength feats, what they can accomplish with everything they have in hand. But it leads to that one fact that just like confuses me. Like, how were they gonna make the battle possible? Like, it's one thing to explain something, but it's another to actually be left with the question thought of how's it gonna work? Like, seriously, it was weird. But we had that answered pretty quickly. And the details were made sense. Like they actually explained everything. And the music was amazing. It was like a it was like a complete total team deathmatch that got the heart racing for me. it was interesting that they had Soligeo on Ash's side, but I guess that makes sense. But overall, I have to say that this was an amazing death battle, and that every single detail that was provided was perfectly used. And this is like a great final battle to end this season, especially given the fact that Ash's journey is now finally over. Yugi's has been for a long time. We all know that, but Yugi's stuff has been like edited, his stuff being more modernized, and all this and all that, to the point that um, it just adds uh, to the end factor. Overall, I have to say that if this was the death battle that everyone has been waiting for Ash to actually finish his journey so that we could see him and Yugi fight, I have to say it's an amazing one, and all that patience for this battle to come out has done its service. But yeah, that's what I gotta really say about that battle. But yeah, this is the order I would go with. And to answer this, it yeah, this would be the order from best to least in every category, from S to A to B to C to D. Honestly, I have to give this season of Death Battle a 8.5, maybe close to a 9. If you want to round it up to 9, then go ahead. But 8.5 seems like the best one. And it's the best Death Battle season by far. I mean, they did have their questionable ones, 3 of them. And they did have their battles that just, I don't know, had their weird explanation stuff. And the fact that there was no proper detail on certain things just made more questioning when it came to 2 death battles, being Joker and Giorgiano, and Ruby and Maka. But other than that, that's really all I have to really say when it comes down to this. And I do hope that you all enjoy your new year. This was an interesting thing to do, and I might do it next year if the final death battle happens before the end of the year. I haven't really considered doing reactions to death battle because I don't really know how to go about it. Plus, it feels like something that I would need a face cam for. So yeah, but overall, it was an enjoyable thing to do here, and I hope you all enjoy the beginning of 2026. So yeah, hope you all enjoy. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me how you would put a tier list like this down, because I'd like to hear your opinions on the matter. Because this was, I don't know, it had its confusing parts and all that, but other than that, not much else to really say. Now with this all out of the way, hope you all enjoy, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.